time we eat, we have an opportunity to make a decision and do something really good for ourselves.
It's been life-changing. I poo every morning now.
Like I used to say, I'm Sonal and I've got eczema. That was my thing.
You can tell why she's asking to rate her plate, can't you?
Yeah, of course. As women, we have a tendency to just give everything and then sort of look around and be like, but I have nothing left.
You're listening to the Living Business Podcast. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Sophie. Welcome to Girl Office, where we talk about the things the business bros won't.
Today we're joined by our good friend Sonal. Hi, Sonal.
Hi.
Hey, Sonal.
Sonal, do you want to take a moment? I'm going to botch your titles and things. So if you want to take a moment to say what it is that you do, who you are.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm so happy to be here and also to chat to you guys and to see your faces. I'm Sonal. I run Sonal Amin Nutrition. I'm a nutritional therapist, registered and insured to work with anyone from all over the world online. I'm based between London and then I go to Guatemala, where I'm also based for the following 6 months of the year.
And you're special because you're also a neuroscientist, yoga teacher, and NLP practitioner.
Yeah,
so you're not just a registered nutritional therapist. You're a woman of many talents who brings it all in and is like super holistic.
Well, yeah, thanks for reminding me to say that also. Yes, that is true. My background is in neuroscience, and I'm actually really happy to be back in that kind of scientific zone, as it were, especially because between studying neuroscience and retraining to become a nutritional therapist, there's been a lot of international development, sustainability work, and social entrepreneurship. So I feel like it's all come back full circle. And then the 500-hour yoga teacher training and NLP stuff really helps, I guess, with the holistic view that I take on nutrition and lifestyle. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that too.
Well, it's just such a USP, unique selling point. Like, you know, when it's like, why would people want to work with you instead of someone else? It's like, well, look at all of this experience that you have.
Because she knows everything.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
A genius.
I mean, if I claim that, it would be terrifying.
It would be terrifying.
Yeah, and it would be hugely untrue. But I do feel that I'm in a stage now where I feel like I would be able to support people with what they're coming to me for. And as much as my special interests are in skin, gut, and hormone health, the neuroscience background does mean that I do still get very excited by anything to do with the brain or nervous system and neurodiversity, which obviously we're seeing so much more now in children and adults. So yes, it's quite a broad range of things that I'd be very happy to talk to people about. But I love learning, and I think that's how it starts in this profession anyway. You can niche from the beginning, but you can also see where your clients take you. So that's where I'm at the moment.
And you also had your own journey, right, with nutritional therapy and your own chronic health conditions. Would you share a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I had chronic eczema for over 25 years. It started around puberty, and then it just got worse basically after I had an asthma attack, and then was in hospital for about a week where I just got pumped full of steroids and all kinds of drugs because I had a semi-collapsed lung. And I genuinely think from that point on I didn't ever really recover, and so most of the time the eczema was just everywhere, you know, right from the soles of my feet to the scalp, and it was a nightmare. I didn't realize how awful it was until I didn't have it, which was only in the last sort of 5 to 6 years.
Wow.
And it's really heartbreaking to sort of reflect on it and look at how much it affected me, because it affected every single aspect of my life. And I do really empathize with anyone who's got a skin condition, because the skin is it's the first thing that we see on ourselves and on other people. And as a young girl and then teenager and woman, it's just so confidence breaking, and it's quite damaging, I think, as well, you know, to have something that's just so visible, especially when all we want to do at that age is just fit in and kind of be completely invisible. You just want to be one of the pack. I mean, now I don't care, But even when I have a flare up now, I still get those old feelings of, please don't look at me or talk about anything that you see on my face or my body. But so that went on for a long time, as I say, about 25 years. And then my acupuncturist in London recommended me to a nutritional therapist, which was at that point the only avenue I hadn't explored. And she was amazing.
So you had tried everything before that?
I'd really tried everything. Yeah, I'd gone down the conventional Western medicine route, NHS. I'd gone to private dermatologists. Everyone recommended steroid creams,
which is a big danger too. Like, I know someone that I went to university with who had really bad eczema, and she'd been using steroid creams for many, many years, and she stopped using them, and she's gone through pretty much a whole year of steroid withdrawal, which just has created head to toe, like, terrible skin condition, because her skin had become so dependent on it. And I had never heard of this before, but now she's part of this big movement of people that have been through steroid cream withdrawal and are like campaigning to not have that as the first go-to for eczema, because it actually creates so many more problems.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's called topical steroid withdrawal, or TSW, and it's really common amongst people who experience eczema because it's the first line of treatment that doctors will offer you. And it's true, because it really thins the skin as well. So you're then so much more prone to, if you scratch yourself, it takes longer to heal, you then scar and all the rest of it. So it's just a slippery slope. And I don't say that and blame the NHS or Western medicine at all, because that's what it was designed to do. But I think why I had to then try lots of other things is because I was never getting to the root cause of why I had eczema in the first place. Everyone, and I myself, could see the symptoms on my skin and how I was feeling and what it looked like, but no one was asking, well, why are you getting this? What is going on inside that means that it shows up on your skin in this way? And that's where the tables turned when I got referred to the nutritional therapist, because that's what she did. I mean, that's what I do now. And it is about getting to the root cause of what's going on. So for skin things, it could be, it could be many, many things, but it's more often than not related to the gut directly. Immune health, inflammation, maybe it's nutrient deficiencies or high stress, nervous system dysregulation. And then also, and traditional Chinese medicine also talks about this, it can be related to emotional blocks and trauma that's been stored in the body for however many years. And I think when I really got to grips with it, I ticked every single one of those boxes.
Really?
So it took about 5 years to get to grips with what was going on for me. And of course, it wasn't linear. The path was up and down. But 5 years for me in comparison to 25 years was just nothing. So it actually feels like it's flown by. And now if I do get a flare up, I almost take it even worse than I did before, because I'm not used to it now. So for me now, it's like the end of the world. I'm busy analysing whatever's gone on. But, it's usually one of those things.
And what was the process of recovery like for you? How did you fit all of these pieces in to changing your lifestyle? Because what you do is sort of lifestyle based as well, isn't it? The holistic approach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't, and I'm sure we'll come on to this, but I was running a social enterprise in Guatemala at the time, and it was hugely stressful. I was the director of this NGO, and I think, as you say, there were lots of lifestyle things to consider, and I wasn't considering those at the time. And so when this solution or potential solution came along, I was trying to juggle it all at the same time. And I think certain things worked. So things around diet and supplementation, linking dietary changes and supplementation to test results and things like that, as well as the emotional and psychological piece, because I started seeing a psychotherapist, I think at the beginning of, just before the pandemic actually, anyway, to deal with some childhood related issues, grief and some other things. So those boxes were getting ticked, but the stress, the day-to-day stress, poor sleep. And at the time, in this community that I've been living in for a long time in Guatemala, we didn't have access to a wide variety of things like fruits and veg and dairy products and different aspects of the diet. So I felt like I wasn't as well supported in that. And it just felt like a lot as the executive director of this busy NGO. So I think it was only actually when I decided to retrain as a nutritional therapist and then exit from my role as the executive director, did I feel that the stress piece started kicking in. So that lifestyle piece, improved sleep, really only came, I'd say, in the last year or so.
Congratulations. I think it takes...
Thank you.
It takes a lot to walk away from something like that you've created, you know, especially when it's in service of other people. Like from my time in Guatemala, I met lots of people that run NGOs, that work for NGOs. It causes so much stress and they really struggle to walk away because it's so tied in with your self-worth and what you're here to do. Maybe we should be talking more about nutrition, but I'm also kind of want to hear a little bit about like when you came to that decision and what that was like for you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because it'll lead into, I'm sure, what we're going to talk about. But there do need to be boundaries between us as sort of leaders or solo entrepreneurs. And I think especially as women, we have a tendency to just give everything and then sort of look around and be like, but I have nothing left. And I think that's exactly what happened to me. And it happened sort of by stealth because I really pride myself on having these boundaries. But when I was running this social enterprise, now on reflection, I can see that a lot of them had gone out the window. I was really keen on staff and community members and everyone having their time off, being paid on time, you know, having proper holidays, really switching off. But I wasn't doing the same. And even when I was removing myself, I was so stressed, as you say, is common amongst directors and leaders of NGOs, because you do feel duty bound and that you're in service to other people. So that if you don't have enough money, that's 50 other people actually that are going to get affected who didn't have much money to start with, and all of these other things. So that really never left me. And I worked out the other day that in 7 years of running the organisation, there were only 2 weeks in that whole time where I turned my phone off and didn't engage at all. And I think even if you don't run an NGO, it's quite easy to go down that route when you're running your own business because it never goes away. And I think it's interesting to see how when you're in charge, you forget that you're actually in charge and that you do get to make the decisions about when you take the holiday, when you take the rest, when you decide you're just not going to do that and it can wait until tomorrow. Because that's what you'd say to your staff. If you're running a team, you would never tell them to keep working until midnight to get it done. But, you know, I've done that in the business, and also even when I was studying to become a nutritional therapist. I fell back into some of the same traps that I did when I was running the NGO. So it really is a learning curve. And as I said before, I feel like none of this is linear. It doesn't just go from sort of zero to hero, it's just this big old winding journey.
Also, what was it like deciding to make such a sidestep in your career? And so this is now like your second business that you've run. Is almost like a new direction and a fresh start. What was the process like in deciding to walk away and then also committing, because you've trained for 3 years, right?
Yes.
And being like, okay, this is going to be a time commitment and it's going to be a while and it's going to be a new start. I'll have to start again. What has that been like?
When I made the decision, it actually felt quite effortless because it was the right decision for me. It was so aligned with where I wanted to be going in life that it didn't feel like this big, massive deal. It actually just felt like, oh, this is amazing. Yes, great. So even though I knew that I was creating so much more work for myself, because of course it's easier to just tick on over how everything's going and not change anything, I knew that the rewards would be so much greater than this short-term, hassle well, not a hassle, but actually quite a serious process of how I was going to dismantle this NGO and turn it into something else so that I could step away, but so that everyone else kept their job and it kept going, which I'm very happy to say that that is what happened. And I did sort of strategically figure that all out. So that's great. It felt really good. It just felt like I had come to the end of the line, for me anyway, of what I was able to get out of that experience, but also what I was able to put back in. I think I've always been quite self-reflective and realised that I was not the best person for the role any longer. And it needed to either have someone who was a lot more experienced and better than me to come in and take it on, or I needed to figure out a way that it could be sort of self-sustainable.
Incredible.
So, I mean, I did try and find a replacement, but I couldn't find anyone.
As
And
good as
so,
you.
no, well, not at all. I wish I had found someone else. But actually, I think it happened in a way that needed to happen.
Yeah.
Because now the business element is now totally separate to the education and social element, which is now privately funded. And they're both just doing really well. And that's all you need to do, you know. And I think, yeah, there were loads of learnings from that. And then it just felt, I've always wanted to work in something health related. And I think I did want to get back into science and working with people. And I guess I wanted to bring together all of the skills like along the way and put it into something that felt really aligned. And nutritional therapy is what it turned into.
And let's talk about nutritional therapy, because I feel like so many people have a misconception of what it actually is. Like I definitely did. I started working with our good friend of ours, Mayan, at the end of last year, who's also a nutritional therapist, and she's very knowledgeable. And I've known her for years. You know, I've been talking to her about nutrition for literally the best part of the last decade, and it only occurred to me after such a long time to be like, oh, maybe I should actually get her assistance here. And it honestly, and I say this like not lightly at all, but it's been life-changing. Like it's been life-changing. I poo every morning now.
Which is amazing.
And that is a direct result of working with Mayan after a lifetime of like chronically not pooping as often as I should be. And I was so worried about working with a nutritional therapist because I thought that I was going to have to cut things out of my diet. I thought that I was going to have to keep like a food diary. Like there were a lot of things that were like a little bit potentially triggering for me to have to go into that process around food. And actually so little of it was about food. And I didn't expect that at all. And it was so much better than I expected. And so I often will tell people like, go and see a nutritional therapist, because I had no idea like the depth of training that you guys have.
Well, I'm so glad that you had a good experience. And my aunt is amazing. I can definitely attest to that. And I think you're right when you say it's not necessarily about food. I think we forget that food is information, and that it's energy, it's focus, it's memory, it's so many things. And I think for me anyway, I really want people to enjoy their food. I want it to, you know, to take pleasure out of something that hopefully people are doing 2, 3, 4 times a day, if not more. And I think each time we eat, we have an opportunity to make a decision and do something really good for ourselves. And of course it can be tasty and delicious, but I just think the way we interact with food is really important. And as you say, I think that is a common misconception, that if you see a nutritional therapist, you're going to have to cut out X, Y, and Z. But I think any nutritional therapist really would try and avoid that at all costs. Of course, it might be necessary short term, depending on what's going on for that individual, but with a long-term view to really introducing those foods back in as soon as is practical or the person's able to. So I think there's this misconception as well that everything's forever. And really, you might just need to cut things out so that your body's got a chance to heal, particularly your gut lining, for example. Let's say you've been eating something repeatedly that clearly is not agreeing. You might not have noticed, but the test results show that it is. Well, then you cut that out for a bit. You make sure that you restore your gut to normal function or healthy function for you. And then you slowly reintroduce those things. And it's amazing how that works and how the body actually does really want to heal. I just think it needs to be in the right environment and with the right support to do so. Because the default is balance, but we're just so many of us are out of sync with that and out of balance. And so, yeah, I'm so glad that you had a good experience with nutritional therapy. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I think there's something also in like investing in your saying out, you know, to the universe energetically, like, I'm ready to start working on this. You know, like, I'm ready to actually claim that space and hire the professionals that I need to start to take care of myself. And I think that was a big thing for me, other than just like ignoring it or like trying to maybe fix it myself, but easier to ignore, easier to pretend that everything's fine. Being like, actually, no, I'm gonna start to look into this. I'm gonna start to do something about this. And even just that, I think energetically does something in the body.
Absolutely. And I think as well, we just don't have to do everything alone.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I know no one's necessarily coming to like change our situation day to day, and we do have to be a bit fix up and sort it out, but you don't have to do these things by yourself. And I was thinking about talking about what I would talk about before I came on the podcast, and that was actually one of them. It's like not trying to do everything by yourself. So if you've got a team, delegating, but if you don't, recruiting the people you know or friends of friends know to help you build up your business. And I think it doesn't even have to be about money. It can be trade, service for service, or, you know, sort of yoga class for acupuncture or whatever it is. And there are just many ways to build up your support network. And I think nutritional therapy can play a really important role in that.
Yeah, that power of community that we're so lacking, really. But actually, once you all start like cross-pollinating, it's just, you just live a happier life, like so much more fulfilled and richer.
Yeah.
Sonal, who would be your like dream person to work with? Or maybe not dream person, but I guess if somebody's listening now and they're like suffering with X, Y, and Z, who would that be that you'd say try nutritional therapy?
Great question.
Ooh, that is a great question. It's nutritional therapy really can have a transformative effect, I would say, on pretty much any condition, because we really are what we eat. And we are our environments and how we feel and all of the rest of it. So for anyone listening who has either had a chronic health issue, whether that's a skin problem, whether they bloat every time after they eat, whether they have lots of food allergies or intolerances and cut things out of their diet and don't know how to reintroduce them, whether they're, I don't know, training for a sports event or wanting to understand better nutrition for women's exercise, for example, I would say nutritional therapy would work for you. But then in the same breath, it is really important to understand that we were born, our bodies were designed to work optimally. And so if for whatever reason there's anyone listening who thinks that their body is not working optimally, but they have normalized their experience. So for example, they've got really heavy, painful periods. Or it's a woman who every time she gets her period, she gets really bad skin, or is bloating, or is gassy, or is constipated, or can't sleep. Any of these things actually are just signs from your body telling you that something is out of balance. And I think nutritional therapy is a very holistic and personalized and considered approach to getting to the root cause of why that might be going on. So just to recap, I think anyone with any kind of chronic issues, but also people who are normalizing things that are actually not normal, because everyone deserves to feel well. And I think we forget that. It's easy to be like, oh yeah, when I eat this, I get a headache. End. But actually, you shouldn't get a headache when you eat something. If you're getting a headache when you eat something, there's something else going on. And it, you know, and it's about getting to the root cause of it. But as Rachel said, you have to be ready to want that support and to receive the support. I think there's a real gap there between thinking it's a good idea and then actually reaching out. So
yeah, and putting yourself first. I think, you know, you said, like you were saying, people normalize things, but also I think, especially in the case of many women, is that our needs come second. Like we've learned that, we've been conditioned into that way of thinking. Also, estrogen doesn't help in that sense either. Like it kind of is a hormone that's like, put everybody else first, you know, take care of everyone. And so, yeah, we might eat something and get bloated or get constipated or get diarrhea or feel bad or our periods are bad, but we're just like, it's just not important enough. And I think, yeah, it's that's flipping that switch to be like, no, actually, I am important. And how can I seek out the help for this is powerful.
Yes, absolutely. And I think we forget that what you eat literally becomes how you think, how you feel, how you function, because the food is such is giving such information and signals to the body. And that gut-brain connection is massive and it's so significant. And I think we forget that. Yeah. And so I think as well, nothing is out of our reach because we get to control what we eat. So you do have a choice. It's just about whether you actually want to understand what's going on, because it can be scary. And I appreciate that. So several people have actually said, they've come to me sort of broaching, oh, maybe I should get a blood test or a stool test to figure out what's going on. But they're actually scared about the results, and that's why they don't do it.
Wow.
And I understand. Because as well, if you've always had something, especially for the chronic issues, if you've had something for a long time, that almost becomes like a security blanket. It's like your label. Like I used to say, I'm Sonal and I've got eczema. That was my thing. And then when you can't say that anymore, well then who am I? It's a
loss of identity. Yeah, absolutely. We have a saying in our house, food is mood. Whenever we want to eat something that's like, well, when we're trying to remind ourselves to eat healthily because it makes us feel good, we're like, food is mood, because it really truly is. You eat something that's nourishing and you're like, oh yeah, I feel great.
Absolutely.
We have to do a part 2.
Well, maybe then to end part 1, part 2, we can do your experience running a business, because I think that is quite interesting. Being your second business, we were talking the other day about you just not experiencing imposter syndrome and just knowing you can outsource things, and you're just a really like, you run things from a really empowered, autonomous place, and you're just like, yeah, done. And it's amazing to watch how you've just like, you just made it all happen, and you're like, I'm not worried, it's just going to happen. And so we'll speak about that next time. Okay. And so this time, if people were interested in working with you, what does that look like?
So for people that are interested, first of all, I suggest people book a free 30-minute health check, because it's a really good way to see if we'll be a good fit to work together. First of all, I think the therapeutic relationship is built on trust and a great sort of foundational relationship. So I would like to speak to everybody before they go ahead and book, and hopefully vice versa. And also then I can sort of see what's going on for you and check that I can actually support those potential clients. Because if I can't, I will absolutely refer people on to someone who can help. So that's the first step. And then if people do decide to go ahead and book, I offer sort of a series of packages which are all on my website. But really, we start off with a really in-depth questionnaire that you need to fill out. I do ask people to fill out a food diary, but obviously you don't have to. It's just quite interesting to do it for 3 days and one day be over a weekend or when you're outside of your usual routine, because there are patterns in food that you would actually never usually pick up on yourself. Whereas when I see what you're eating and drinking over a 3-day period, I can sort of see trends, and it makes it makes my life a lot easier, to be honest, to then make recommendations. So there's the food diary and an in-depth questionnaire, and then the first consultation's an hour and a half. And it's a really deep dive into basically everything about your life, because nutritional therapy is founded on systems biology and functional medicine. So it divides the body into systems, so emotional, physical, mental, and the rest of it. And I need to go into each one of those to get a really clear picture about what potential root causes of the symptoms that client's experiencing. And then I'll make any functional test recommendations in there. So those are like blood, stool, urine, genetics, that kind of thing. And those are separate to the services, but they can also be discounted depending on the test. I might make any supplement recommendations in that appointment, and clients get 10% off supplements. And all of these things are, of course, optional. They're recommendations. It's about coming up with a plan that works for that individual, that's realistic and sustainable. There's absolutely no point in me recommending things that someone's not going to implement. So it's more of a negotiation between the two of us. And then I usually follow up about a week or so later to check that either the test kit's arrived, that you've ordered your supplements, so you're on track with any diet or lifestyle plan. And then I'm around for email support in between consultations. And then about 6 to 8 weeks afterwards, hopefully when test results have come back, if someone's gone for a test, I'll interpret the test results and then rearrange the plan, check in, see how everything's going in the follow-up consultation, which is about an hour. And that process can go on. So I would say it's good to work over a 6 to 8 period of time. And then anything longer than that goes up to about 12 weeks and longer.
It's just such deep support, isn't it? And changing
It
your
is.
different aspects of your life.
Yeah, and I think the real idea is that the client can then walk away and know how their body works.
Yeah.
Because I'm really trying to sort of educate and empower people to be able to make those decisions for themselves, because they understand how their body works and what food works for them and what doesn't, or how much sleep they need, or how much breath work or breathing they need to do before they go into a meeting, or whatever it is. So it's about really almost putting myself out of a job with that client so that they don't have to come and see me. But obviously we all go through different life stages. So, you know, especially as women, we're going to be entering different sort of hormonal cycles at various age points. So, you know, you might need to come back, but it's really, it's, I can't do nutritional therapy to people, is what I say to clients. You need to play an active role in it. Yeah. As you will know, Rach, from the recommendations that Mayanne has made, you have to do them. She's not in your kitchen telling you what to do.
Totally. But it was so empowering. You know, you were saying giving the client then walking away and understanding how their body works. Like that is really something that I got from my time with Mayanne, was that knowing that some things are functional, like some things have been that they've been patterned that way since you were a child, and so going through the process of kind of repatterning them, which doesn't necessarily, or in my case, didn't necessarily have that much to do with food. You know, it was, she encouraged me to add in some things into my diet, but it wasn't necessarily to do with food. And that was quite an empowering thing, because I'd spent so long trying to change my diet to adjust my gut. Like I tried this thing and I tried this thing and I cut out this thing and I do this thing. And then through my conversations with her, she was like, well, actually, this is something that's functional. And, you know, she recommended supplements and herbs and bedtime routines and things like that. And that is really what I needed. But I don't know if I would have been able to find that information.
That's it. Well, I think you've made the point really, and the case for personalized nutrition, because there's so much information out there, but none of it's actually targeted to you. You might think it is because you're looking up constipation or IBS or eczema, but the information that's out there is hugely generalized, and we are all so unique and individual, which is why I think personalized nutrition really makes a difference. Because if all the information out there on a certain topic was appropriate to people, well, then I wouldn't have a job.
Right.
Because everyone would be well, you know? Yeah. And I think it's really important to say that. It's like, you'll see everything on Instagram that Instagram wants you to see. So you'll think you're getting the answers. But the truth is, it's very difficult to, you know, change a runaway train. And that's what we are really when we get into our routines and our habits. So you need a stop or a break point to be able to sort of reset. And I think that's what you were saying, Rach, about that energetic switch of, actually, this help needs to come from outside of myself. It needs to be personalized to me as Rachel, the individual, and it needs to be sustainable so that I can do it and then go off and live my constipation-free life.
And also, yes, which I am. And also,
which is joyous.
Like the people on Instagram are usually trying to sell something, right? Like they're trying to, you know, they're trying to push polarizing ideas so they can sell something. So they're like, eat only meat. This is what it's done for me. Buy my book about eating, or buy my thing, you know. And actually nutritional therapists are not trying to do that. They're not focused on selling their stuff. They're focused on helping you. And that's a huge difference, because if you try and do it yourself, you're going to get people that are like, don't eat egg yolks, do eat egg yolks, don't eat butter, do eat butter, eat only plants, eat only meat. But ultimately these people with big platforms that are saying these things are just trying to monetize the platform.
Yes.
So we can't necessarily trust that.
No, and I think as well with supplements, it's the same story. You know, like a lot of supplement companies will tell you that there's evidence around their supplement and why it's the best, because it's food grown or because it's this or it's that. But they're the people that paid for the research to show those results.
Yes.
And so I think having a third party individual person who's looked at all the supplements and looked at all the functional testing and is looking at you in front of them and designing the plan for you is really invaluable, because it'll just cut through all of that noise. And we're trained to use evidence-based, but also research that evidence-based very critically. So I'll look at certain pieces of research now and just be like, well, that's useless. And it looks like a really good study. And, you know, it's really like well funded and it's got all this bells and whistles around it, and I'll just be like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And that's because I don't know, it's just poorly designed. There haven't been enough people, or they used mice. You know, the amount of times you see things that are only evidenced in animals and then they're trying to flog it to humans.
Wow.
So yeah, it is quite funny once you get into it. You just think, you just do become very critical, but in a good way, when it comes to the research. So I think it's important to say that it is evidence-based. It's not just sort of nutritional therapists like plucking information off Instagram and being like, here you go.
Yes.
It's actually very much rooted in science. But funnily enough, so is all the holistic recommendations that we make, because, you know, like breath work, nervous system regulation, that's science. I mean, that's our bodies. So yeah, it's really interesting.
And final quick fire round. What are you having for dinner?
Oh, I'm having a great dinner. I'm having salmon, grilled salmon with leftover ricotta and asparagus pasta, which is gluten-free because I'm gluten-free. And then I am going to do some sort of other green veg on the side, probably leeks.
Delish.
Oh, and then dark, 85% dark.
Can you do rate my breakfast, and me and Sophie will show you what we had for breakfast, and you can rate it.
Yeah, go on.
Interesting.
Out of like 1 to 5, the scale.
Okay, go on, Sophie.
Well, I have this pretty much most days. I'd be interested to hear what you think. Okay, it's a smoothie. It's got bananas, frozen spinach, chocolate protein powder. I don't know what you think about that. Peanut butter, chia seeds, and water.
Did you say yogurt is in there?
No, peanut butter and chocolate protein powder.
I mean, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
would you change?
That was like a 2, Soph. That was like
No. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I'd go like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Nice.
How could I improve?
Have you got any other seeds in there? Flax, sunflower, pumpkin?
No, but I could
add some more seeds. Oh, hemp.
Yeah, I love hemp.
You know what else you could put in there? Kefir.
Ooh, yeah.
To get your probiotic in.
Nice.
Just a bit of probiotic.
This is a fun game. I like this. Okay, Rach, what's yours?
Rach, your turn.
I had 2 fried eggs in butter, sweet potato, air fryer sweet potato with rosemary, spinach, avocado, and sauerkraut.
You can tell why she's asking to rate her plate, can't you?
Yeah, of course you can.
She's so smug.
Like how she takes her photos. Hi, I'm perfect.
My everyday breakfast.
I mean, that is a disgusting 5. It's very good. I mean, the only thing you could do is add another egg.
Another egg, but sometimes I get egg ick. You know, too many.
You get egg ick.
Too many eggs. Like 2 is really more than enough.
2's enough for you.
Yeah.
Or some other protein like meat.
Sometimes I do a Greek yogurt or something too.
Yeah, that's nice.
Funny.
But yeah, you can definitely tell why you picked this game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, oh, I've had a really good breakfast and Sonal's going to approve.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, thank you so much for joining us. And
thank you so much for having me.
We'll bring you back for a part 2 so we can talk all about your business behind the scenes. And if people want to work with you, then they can get the link in the show notes to book a free call, right?
Yes, that's right.
We'll do that. All right, amazing. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone.
Bye.